If I look sad and disheveled, if I look despondent, if I look borderline non-sober, that's probably because that's the way I am after a loss like that.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey again, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. This is one of those moments where Jimmy, I was trying to get Jimmy, and Jimmy wants to gather his thoughts, and that's very fair. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online. I'm putting out an abbreviated episode. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that in advance. This isn't going to be the full episode that Jimmy and I will do tomorrow. I felt important to have a visceral reaction to this Alabama LSU game, and yeah, I'm down in my basement, been watching this by myself on the couch, tried everything, took my shirt off. That's a visual you didn't want. Put my shirt back on, put my shirt on inside out, took my socks off, took one sock off, put one sock back on, tried switching socks. I tried everything that I could do to help this team, and nothing worked. And it's a very gut-wrenching loss. I said that on the Locked On Now, if you happen to see it. But I don't know what to say. I do want to give credit to LSU. They fought their tails off. They didn't wilt. Brian Kelly going for two, throwing to his freshman tight end. That's balls. That's balls. And that's something Alabama teams used to have. We used to be so proud of that our team, would impose their will. And now it just doesn't seem like it's that way. We got one dude, y'all. Love Will Anderson. Will Anderson is going to make a gazillion dollars in the NFL. He's not at his best year. He played okay tonight. He played okay. But we needed somebody on the defense to take over. We needed somebody on the defense to make a stop. They go 25 yards like Sean Alexander in 1999 in Gainesville on the first play that they have the ball in overtime. Then they go for two, and we need a senior safety or a highly rated junior safety, but a defensive back, to make a play on a freshman tight end. We can't do it. It's very disheartening because this team's better than this. And look, there was a tweet out there. And I'm just going big picture here right now. I'm not going to get into the weeds until I have Jimmy on with me. He's better at that. But there was a tweet that said, "It's a shame Bryce Young won't get a national championship ring. Why is it at Alabama?" It's not necessarily true. He did win a national championship in 2020. I know the point, though. He gets a ring from 2020. He wasn't really a contributor in 2020. I think he's the best quarterback in Alabama history. I think he was all on it, had an off game. He still had, 328 yards against Tennessee. He had, 400 and some odd yards. So in two losses, the two losses we've had where we lose one of them on a two-point conversion and one of them on a last-second field goal, Bryce Young has about 800 yards passing. And in neither contest did he have his A game. Dude's unreal. I mean, yeah, the pick shook him. The pick early in the game. If we score then, I swear I feel like this game's over. I mean, that's when we impose our will. We had already stopped them on the drive. And they hung around. And I'm not trying to say that in an insulting way. They just bided their time. That may be another way to put it. Saying they hung around is not giving them enough credit. LSU bided their time. And it is very disappointing that we lose that contest, and we can't count on a defender, and we cannot count on a receiver. Those are two things I learned tonight. We cannot count on a defender anywhere on the defense to make a play when we gotta have a play, when we've got to have that moment. We've got dudes that can make plays, but we don't have dudes that are like, nobody's scoring right now. And we don't have a receiver that's like, throw me the ball. I'm going to catch it. I don't care. You want to talk about a receiver that probably looks like he's going to be a guy that's going to make plays? How about Mason Taylor for LSU? That tight end makes a huge touchdown catch, makes a 2-point conversion. True freshman. He's got that clutch gene, and not everybody's got it. And so you can't be mad at somebody for not having that. That's in your DNA. That's not taught. That is something you have within you. And the fact that we don't have it is more about our not recruiting the right people. Now, again, we're talented. We know this. I'm not insulting anybody. A lot of these dudes are going to make a bunch of money in the NFL because they're very good football players. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to divert my eyes. Auburn is in LSU, in Mississippi State, or they're in overtime as I'm trying to cut this. Anywho, we got dudes everywhere. But how many dogs do we have? I'm talking like you ain't scoring on me, or I am going to score on you guys. We got Bryce Young. That's it. I mean, and I don't think that's an insult. I don't. I mean, if you're good enough to play at Alabama, you're good enough to make millions and millions of dollars in the NFL. But it doesn't necessarily entitle you to have that Rolando McClain gene. It doesn't necessarily entitle you to have, a Reuben Foster type gene or Devontae Smith. It doesn't entitle you to that. You're born with that. And so I'm not mad at anybody for that. I am mad. I still am. I mean, look, I'm on board with everybody now. You got to blow this coaching staff up when the season's over. You got to blow it up. The fans have lost faith. And I think Saban's going to end up doing that. I mean, look, I think Pete Golding's been pretty good, better than the fans want to believe. But at the same time, and when we've needed stops, see Tennessee, see LSU. When we've needed stops, we haven't gotten them. And Bill O'Brien really got to go. You just got to go. You've got a generational best quarterback in Alabama history, and you've already lost 2 games. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I do feel like I want to go ahead and tell you about Bet Online. Maybe you took Alabama on the money line tonight. If you did, I'm very sorry. You could have at betonline.net. You can bet on whatever you want to at betonline.net. It is awesome. It is easy. Go check them out. Betonline.net. It's where the game starts. You can check out any game you want to check out. They got everything there. You can play poker. And believe me, I've done it. It's fun. Go to betonline.net. Check them out. You will love it. It's a fantastic website. It's so easy to operate. It's so easy to navigate. When you get to some of these sites like this, it can be difficult to maneuver around, and you don't really trust them, and you don't do this and you don't do that, as Mississippi State almost scores a touchdown to win it. But maybe you took Mississippi State on the money line. And if so, then you're trying to watch it on BetOnline on TV while you're hoping you win on betonline.net. BetOnline.net is the best. I promise you it's the best. Go check them out. It's awesome. Go check it out, betonline.net, and, it's where the game starts. I don't know. I don't really know how much more I can add tonight. Who else impressed? Let me tell you one key that I hope Jimmy and I go over. I was going to try and just throw out. And again, I'm going off the cuff here. I hope y'all understand that. I hope y'all come back and understand Jimmy and I are going to talk about this game more in depth starting tomorrow and the rest of the week, and then get into what I'm afraid is going to be a skull dragging against Ole Miss, because Lane Kiffin, if he can do it, he's going to want to tear us a new one. But back to this game, I think one key that will go unheralded for most of the day or the entire week is Mississippi State does score a touchdown. It appears they will win unless there's a flag. Is the fact that LSU really pinned Alabama deep in the first half. We couldn't get our footing. After our drive where we threw a pick in the first series, we never had a great starting position again. We were always backed up deep. And it seemed to frazzle us. And I go back to the Tennessee game where you talk about this team having anxiety. And that's something Alabama doesn't admit. Really, I mean, Northwestern wouldn't admit we were frazzled, but Alabama admitted it, that they were anxious. I mean, they were nervous. They were not scared, but I mean, they were shook. And I think the interception shook Alabama, shook Bryce Young a little bit. But in the end, see, he's got that clutch gene, so he's able to shake it off, and he makes the clutch plays. I mean, his touchdown was a thing of beauty. That's something. That's legends are made of that. So how, as a defense, do you let that team drive all the way down the field and score a touchdown like that? I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend that I am a defensive genius, but it sure seemed like a couple of times we needed a spy and we didn't have a spy because Jalen Daniels can run. Jalen Daniels can run. We need a dude there. You got to watch him. I don't know. I'm kind of beat up. I hope y'all are too. I hope you aren't. I mean, I guess I don't want you to be hurt, but I mean, it's a sad day for Alabama fans because I'm telling you, we're out of the playoffs. That's not happening. We're probably out of the SEC West, so that's not happening. And I'm wondering, like, I watched Auburn fight tonight. They're not good. They don't have a good team, but they fought. Are we going to fight? Are we going to fight against Ole Miss for real? Do you believe that? I'm not sure I do right now, and maybe it's just me right after the game, immediate reaction, but I'm nervous about that. And then, obviously we're going to play Austin P or whatever it is. And then if we get to a bowl game, are we going to fight? Is everybody going to play? Do we want everybody to play? Do you really want Bryce Young to play in a bowl game against, I don't know, I mean, pick who, Clemson, who got blown out of the water by Notre Dame tonight? You want Bryce Young to play against Clemson and maybe get hurt? I don't. I'd be fine if he sat out and we let one of the younger guys come in and do his thing and try and audition for next season. But I don't think this is the end of Nick Saban's career. I don't think this is going to affect recruiting, nothing like that. In fact, I mean, if I know Saban, he's going to turn this into a positive for recruiting. Like, we need you. Come on to us. And I mean, Jimmy and I are going to try and probably pump some sunshine later on this week. I can't do it right now, though. I'm sorry. I'm not in the mood for that. A lot of positives to take from a team whose 2 losses are to 2 teams on the road in the top 10 by a grand total of 4 points. That's true. We hold ourselves to a higher standard. You know it. I know it. Saban made us that way. And I think Saban would want us to feel that way as fans. So I'm going to wrap it up. And we will be back tomorrow. Jimmy will be back with me. I did text him. He just didn't want to take part tonight. He said he's got to gather his thoughts. I've probably very stupidly just threw my thoughts out on this channel. But look, hopefully you will check us out tomorrow. Hopefully you will subscribe. We appreciate you guys so much. It has been one heck of a run, and I think that run's going to continue. But, yeah, this was a tough loss. So for Jimmy Stein, I'm Luke Robinson. Roll Tide. We'll talk to you tomorrow.